As a litigator, I was very skeptical about mindfulness. The word alone made me think of incense and yoga studios, not courtrooms and client meetings. But that changed during a particularly stressful trial when I learned a simple 3-minute breathing technique that helped me regain clarity.
Welcome to the Free Lawyer Podcast. I'm your host, Gary Miles.
Everybody, happy Monday. Thank you for being with me here today. So imagine this scenario. You've spent countless hours preparing your case to perfection, only to have a single unexpected ruling shatter your strategy in seconds. The pressure mounts, stress floods in, and suddenly every bit of control you thought you had slips away. Have you ever spent weeks preparing for a case only to watch your strategy collapse when the judge makes an unexpected ruling? I certainly have. I tried a case many years ago alleging that my client was fired because he filed a workers' compensation claim, which under Maryland law was illegal. It was a difficult case because the defendants didn't put in writing that they fired him because of his workers' comp claim, but there's a lot of inferential evidence that supported that conclusion. I tried a hard case. I put my heart and soul into it, and the jury ruled my way and gave me every penny I asked for in less than an hour. They didn't even deliberate long. And shortly thereafter, the judge threw the verdict out. He said there was not enough evidence to support it. It was really overwhelming. But after 45 years now as an attorney, I've discovered something really profound. Most of what stresses lawyers out is completely beyond our control. That ruling by the judge, I had no power over that. Here's the good news. Over the years, I've discovered that our professional growth is not about controlling every variable. It's about directing our energy towards what truly matters. The moment I stopped trying to control everything was when my practice actually thrived. I'm Gary Miles. I've helped other attorneys transform their practices through mental strength techniques that focus energy where it matters most. And today, I'm going to reveal the secret that transformed my 45-year legal career, the power of mastering what you can control and letting go of the rest. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll learn how to boost your mental strength, reduce stress, and ultimately thrive in the courtroom and beyond. I will share with you the exact blueprint that helped me build my successful 40-year career without sacrificing my well-being. See, here's the paradox it took me decades to understand. The more we try to control everything, the more we lose control over what truly matters. Early in my career, I believed success meant controlling every variable, anticipating every possible scenario, influencing every client decision, and managing every aspect of my case. Does that sound familiar? That mindset is all too common among lawyers. We're trained to be thorough and precise. But here's the twist. The tighter we grip, the more everything slips away. I learned that relentless control only bred anxiety and diminished my true potential. Now, I had a personal injury case that really gave me this perspective completely. I was defending a truck driver in a case. Very big case, very serious injuries. I gave him very explicit directions on how to appropriately answer the questions. And despite my meticulous preparation and attempts to control every variable, including his testimony, my client violated every one of my instructions and testified exactly as I'd warned him not to. I realized something profound. My need for control was actually limiting my effectiveness. The more I tried to control everything, the more stressed and less adaptable I became. The hidden costs were steep. I found myself trapped in a cycle of stress, micromanagement, and burnout. My pursuit of complete control affected every aspect of my life, from sleepless nights and strained client relationships to deteriorating team dynamics and even my health. I'd lie awake, mentally rehearsing arguments, only to wake up exhausted and unfocused. You know, this is the irony. When we focus on controlling the uncontrollable, we lose sight of what truly matters, our clarity, our focus, and our peace of mind. See, the solution was not more control, it was better control. Let me show you what I mean. The turning point came when I realized that true professional mastery is not about controlling everything. It's about identifying what we can control and channeling our energy there. The turning point came when I embraced the concept of the circle of control. Imagine a circle where everything inside is what you can influence, like your case preparation, your client communications, your personal responses. Everything outside, that's beyond your control. Let's get specific about what you can control. You can control your case preparation and strategy. You can prepare the case as well as you want. That's up to you. The strategy you choose, your effort and creativity in preparing are entirely within your control. You can control your personal responses, how you react to the other attorney, how you handle outcomes of cases, whether favorable or not. You can control your communication frequency and quality, how you set expectations with your clients, how often you update them, how you handle your calls with them. Those are within your control. And of course, your professional growth, your decisions about learning and development. But what's even more important is recognizing what you cannot control. You can't control the decisions of judges and juries. You can present your case as skillfully as you want, but the outcome belongs to someone else. You can't control the tactics of the opposing attorney or his attitude towards you or how he treats you. Or you can prepare for those tactics, but you can't control them. You can't control the behavior of your client. You can advise your client, you can suggest different things, but clients act how they're going to. They don't always follow your advice, and they don't always speak to you the way you want them to. And you can't always control calendar conflicts. Court schedules are notoriously unpredictable. Acknowledging the elements that are uncontrollable doesn't mean ignoring them. It means understanding their limits so you can focus your energy on what matters most. And when I grasped these distinctions, the benefits were immediate. My stress levels dropped significantly. My decision-making became sharper. My relationships with my clients improved. But most importantly, my professional satisfaction soared. By focusing on what I could control, I began to see immediate improvements, not just in my practice, but on my overall well-being. I started channeling my energy into areas where I could make a real difference, rather than wasting it on variables that were never meant to be controlled. If you're struggling with any of these challenges in your practice, I'd love to help. I'm offering a complimentary coaching session to help you identify your specific control boundaries and to develop strategies tailored to your practice. You can either visit me on my website, email me at gary@garymiles.net, or schedule on the link in the notes to this episode. So let's talk about how to build your mental strength toolkit. I want to share with you 3 specific techniques that transform my practice. I learned these through years of trial and error, but you can start implementing them today. The first technique is strategic mindfulness. As a litigator, I was very skeptical about mindfulness. The word alone made me think of incense and yoga studios, not courtrooms and client meetings. But that changed during a particularly stressful trial when I learned a simple 3-minute breathing technique that helped me regain clarity. And it works like this. Find a quiet spot, even if it's just a courthouse bathroom stall. Place your feet flat on the floor. Sit up straight and close your eyes. Breathe in through your nose for a count of 4. Hold for 2 and exhale through your mouth for a count of 6. Focus only on the sensation of your breath and do that for just 2 minutes or so. I was amazed at how this brief pause completely shifted my mental state. I returned to court with clarity and confidence and adjusted my strategy effectively and ended up with a good result. Now I take those 3 minutes between meetings or before entering the courtroom. And here's how you can integrate strategic mindfulness into your practice. The first are moments of transition between client meetings or between intense work on different files. Take 2 or 3 minutes to center yourself. This creates a clean break between matters and prevents the stress of one case from bleeding into the other. For composure on entering the courtroom when something unexpected happens, a hostile witness, an adverse ruling, or a surprise motion, use conscious breathing to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. That will physiologically reduce stress hormones and enhance cognitive function. So try that brief mindfulness breathing when you're under incredible stress in the courtroom, or when you're reviewing a big file. Instead of rushing through discovery documents while your mind wanders to future hearings, practice being mindful when you work on the file. Give your full attention to what's in front of you, and note when your mind drifts and gently return the focus to what's in front of you. This not only reduces stress, but often reveals details in your file or in the documents you might miss. And I've seen the lawyers transform their practices with these three simple techniques. The results are remarkable: improved focus, better decision making, and reduce reactivity. We don't react as quickly as we do before when we're composed and we take a mindfulness break. It only takes a minute or two, but use it during your day when something stressful and surprising happens, or when you're working on files. The second technique is professional reframing. I've learned to reframe setbacks. Instead of viewing a denied motion as a failure, I began to see it as an opportunity to refine my approach and develop a stronger argument. This isn't about fluffy positive thinking or pretending problems don't exist. They do. Professional reframing is a strategic technique used by elite performers across all fields, from special forces operators to corporate executives. But let me show how this would work specifically for you. The first is reframing your case. About 30 years ago, I represented an ex-employee against a large corporation on a defamation case. She had complained about sexual harassment by the president of the company, and he retaliated against her. We were completely outgunned in terms of resources. They had a team of attorneys from a prestigious firm, and my client had very limited funds for litigation. Initially, I just saw this as a David versus Goliath scenario where we were at a significant disadvantage. But rather than focusing on the resource disparity, I reframed the situation. I saw it as an opportunity to demonstrate that justice did not depend on the size of your legal team, but on the merits of your case. And that reframing completely changed our approach and my attitude. Instead of trying to match their voluminous document production or their expert witnesses, we focused on telling our client's story in the most compelling human way possible. We emphasized the personal impact on our client, who had spoken out against sexual harassment by a truly nasty corporate president. We prepared meticulous, focused evidence rather than overwhelming quantities. The jury, clearly affected by our approach, ruled in our favor and gave us every penny we requested, and then even awarded punitive damages. And afterwards, the judge commented on how my focus and principled presentation was so much more effective than the other side's exhaustive, overwhelming, and sometimes angry approach. This wasn't just a lucky break. It was a direct result of reframing what seemed like a weakness into a strategic advantage. And the second is to reframe the outcomes of cases. If a crucial motion is denied in a case, my initial reaction used to be frustration. But instead I ask, what can I learn from this? How can I improve? And that teaches me how in later motions or later trials, I can present a better argument or a better case. Reframing our client relationships. Difficult clients can be really professionally demanding. One particularly demanding client used to call me daily with minor concerns. And rather than seeing this as annoyance, I reframed it as a practice for developing communication boundaries. And that allowed me to implement structured check-ins that actually reduced total communication time while increasing client satisfaction. When you systematically reframe setbacks this way, they become valuable assets rather than energy drains. They become stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. And this isn't wishful thinking. It's strategic mental positioning that expands your options and maintains your effectiveness under pressure. And the third technique is the art of letting go. There really is nothing more important, I think, than learning what to let go. The most powerful skill I've developed over 45 years is exactly the art of letting go. It doesn't mean being passive or indifferent. Quite the opposite. It means we channel our energy with laser focus where it matters most. Setting boundaries with clients, accepting that some factors like a judge's rulings are simply beyond our control, allows us to focus on what we can improve. Here's what professional letting go looks like in practice. It can include setting boundaries with clients. That client who texts us all hours of the night and interferes with our sleep and our family life. Learning to let go meant establishing clear communication windows while still providing excellent service. That doesn't diminish our service, it enhances it by ensuring I'm rested and fully present during working hours and when I communicate with the client. Acceptance of outcomes. Early in my career, I would ruminate for days after a disappointing result, after an adverse ruling, and I would replay what I could have done differently, what I should have done. And that mental recycling prevented me from being effective on other cases. And I developed a system where I allow myself 30 minutes of structured reflecting. I document what lessons I've learned, and then I mentally close the file where I symbolically put it to rest. And that practice allows me to extract value from every experience, but without carrying psychological baggage. I focus on it. I learn what I can learn, and then I make a choice to close that file, put it in the drawer, and be done with it. Selective attention. Our mind tends to spot problems everywhere, and it can serve us in case analysis, but it can undermine our well-being. I practice selective attention by asking, does focusing on this serve my client or my effectiveness? If not, I deliberately reflect and redirect my attention. It's not ignoring reality. It's strategically allocating your most precious resource, your attention. Let me give you an example. I once tried a really nasty divorce case. The lawyer on the other side was one of the meanest, most difficult, well, he was the meanest, nastiest lawyer I ever ran across. He called everyone a liar. He raised his voice constantly. I remember being in court. I've never been called this before nor after. But twice he told the judge I was a liar. He went on and on, making false and inaccurate statements to the court, and I could feel my blood starting to boil. I wanted to scream out and say that was wrong, but I kept my cool. And then when my turn came, I spoke in a very calm voice. I corrected him with facts and arguments, and in the end, the judge ruled our way on every point. Instead of being knocked off kilter by his statements, I took deep breaths and I responded calmly. And the key to making these techniques work is what I call daily freedom focus. It has three components: the morning mental preparation. Before you start checking emails and get to work, list 3 things you're grateful for professionally. Identify your top 3 priorities for the day and set a clear purpose for how you want to show up for your clients and your colleagues. Strategic reset pauses. 2 to 3 minutes, 3 to 4 times daily. These brief mindfulness breaks between tasks prevent the accumulation of stress and help you maintain your mental clarity. I use it at specific transition points in my days, after working on a long file, after a court appearance, after a difficult meeting. And the end of day reflection, and this takes a little longer. But before leaving the office, review what worked well, review what you learned, and review what needs specific attention tomorrow, and plan the 1 or 2 files you're going to tackle first. And this ritual creates closure. It prevents work from following you home, and it builds an organized plan for the following day. And these aren't just productivity tricks. These are the foundation of sustainable mental strength in a very demanding profession. And they've helped me maintain passion for the law for over 4 decades while still enjoying a very fulfilling personal life. The transformation of my practice did not happen overnight, but the benefits, undeniable. When I learned to focus my energy where it truly mattered, everything changed. So let me take a minute to summarize what we talked about today. True professional mastery isn't about micromanaging every detail or trying to control every outcome. It's about recognizing and investing your energy in what truly matters: your case preparation, your client communication, and your own response to that difficult attorney or the surprising result. By focusing on these controllable elements, you set the stage for a balanced and thriving practice. And today we explore the paradox of control, that the harder we try to manage everything, the more overwhelmed, the more stressed we become. We saw how our obsessive need for control can affect not just our work, but every aspect of our lives, from disrupted sleep and strained relationships to diminished health. Yet, by shifting our focus to what we can control, we unlock a powerful transformation. Think about it. By incorporating simple yet effective techniques like mindfulness, you can clear your mind, sharpen your focus, and even find clarity in the midst of chaos. Reframing setbacks as opportunities rather than failures empowers you to learn and grow from every experience. And by letting go of what you simply cannot change, you reclaim your peace of mind and make room for what truly enhances both your practice and your personal life. These three techniques work together to create a powerful synergy. When you practice mindfulness, you gain the mental clarity to effectively reframe challenges. As you become skilled at reframing, you naturally discover what's worth your energy and what you can release. And as you master letting go, you create the mental space that allows mindfulness to occur. It's a self-reinforcing cycle that builds resilience over time. The greatest irony I've discovered is this: by loosening my grip on everything, I gain more meaningful control over my well-being and my practice than ever before. My desperate attempts to control every variable actually undermined the very success I was working so hard to achieve. Imagine ending your day with a sense of accomplishment, knowing that you invested your energy wisely. Picture waking up each morning with clarity, ready to tackle new challenges with renewed confidence and resilience. This isn't just about becoming a better lawyer. It's about transforming your entire approach to work and to life so that stress gives way to focus. Your anxiety turns into action, and every obstacle becomes a stepping stone toward success. The path to mental strength in your practice is not about controlling every variable. It's about mastering your response to circumstances that you can't control. Focusing your energy where it truly matters will transform not just your practice, but your relationship with the profession you've chosen. When you master these techniques, you don't just become a better lawyer. You become a healthier, more balanced person who happens to practice law at a very high level. And that's the true definition of professional success. So thank you for joining me on this journey towards mental strength, resilience, and excellence. If today's insights resonate with you, I encourage you to like this episode. Share your thoughts or questions in the comments or in my post on LinkedIn about this episode, and subscribe for more practical tips on transforming your legal practice. And remember, if you're ready to take this transformation a step further, schedule your free courtesy coaching call using the link in the description. I would love to work together with you to help you focus on what truly matters and to build a career that is as fulfilling for you as it is successful. Remember, true freedom in your practice comes from knowing what to control and what to release. Until next time, stay focused, stay resilient, and keep striving for excellence. I'm Gary Miles, and I look forward to helping you build a more fulfilling legal career. And thank you so much for watching today. And as always, please be well, be safe, and be free.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Free Lawyer Podcast. Wherever you are listening, if you enjoyed what I shared, please leave me a rating and review. I would appreciate hearing more about what you like best and what topics you might like me to cover in future episodes. If you are interested in experiencing a more fulfilling and a more successful life, please contact me at www.garymiles.net, where you can schedule a free discovery call with me so I can learn more about you, your challenges, and your dreams. I appreciate each and every one of you, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks to all of you for your support.